The AZS Rinse Conveyor is an asset for a mid-sized farming operation. This machine has the potential to increase pack shed efficiency, and we will take a look at how this machine could be useful on your operation. The rinse conveyor is a single unit that can wash both crops and bins with either circulating water alone or by adding in an adjustable high-pressure system, and it also allows for easy sanitation. Inside the machine, there are a series of spray bars, each with different functions. Spray bars are located both above and below the stainless steel chain conveyor belt. The first set of spray bars recirculate the rinse water from a catchment tank below the unit, which can be accessed and viewed by raising and lowering the machine. The gas struts aid in raising and lowering. The second set of spray bars found in the machine are for the high pressure wash, with a spray tip located at either end of a spinning bar above and below the conveyor. Lastly, there is a double spray bar with multiple tips located both above and below the conveyor, which can be used for injecting a sanitizing solution both for crops and hard-surfaced harvest totes. There is also a side window to provide access to the spray bars underneath the belt, which allows for cleaning and adjusting the spray tips. Inside the tank, there is a Hudson float valve to control the water volume in the tank. In our system, it takes about 7.5 minutes to fill the machine with water. This tank also features two angled debris screens that sit inside the machine to keep leaky material from clogging the drain. These screens can be removed and washed separately after the machine is drained. A simple spray with a garden hose is sufficient to clean the screens. Basic exterior components include the water valves, which we have labeled for easy reference, that supply water to the machine. The high-pressure reservoir with the Hudson float valve is necessary to keep filled above the low water contact switch located in the bottom of the high-pressure reservoir to use high-pressure settings. Be sure that your water supply line flow rate is at an absolute minimum of 10 gallons per minute to run the machine smoothly. If you struggle with adequate water supply, the machine will shut off the high-pressure mode until this reservoir is refilled and the high-pressure pump is restarted. Above the unit, you can adjust the height of the upper two spray bars by loosening a twist knob and moving the metal bars higher or lower. In order to run our bins through the machine, we keep these bars at the highest level. Below the machine, you can adjust the high pressure intensity by turning the adjustment knob connected to the pressure gauge. On the front of the machine is the control panel. The control panel has a safety shutoff knob. When depressed, it will halt the machine's operation. To turn the machine on, you must twist the safety shutoff knob until it pops out, and then push the green on button. The two variable speed dials on the top control the intensity of the recirculation water and the speed of the conveyor belt. The three-way switch is how you make your selection for your wash cycle. The machine can be run with circulation only, high pressure only, or the combination of both circulation and high pressure. For bin washing, we recommend running both the high pressure and circulation mode to get the best wash. Generally, for crops, we run it with circulation only. The machine has a drain valve at the bottom of the machine. We have our drain valve connected to a reinforced hose that will carry the wastewater outside of the building.
Special consideration should be given to the electrical requirements when integrating this machine into your existing operation. There are a number of configurations offered for this machine based upon your needs and resources. For our purposes, we chose the stainless steel version with optional casters so that we could maneuver the machine inside our building. We opted for a single-phase 230-volt model equipped with the optional 1300 psi high-pressure pump. Upon installation of our unit, we encountered some issues. Due to the machine using water and being in a wet location, we installed our machine on a 40 amp GFCI protected circuit for ground fault protection. However, this machine would not run more than a few seconds without tripping the GFCI. After significant troubleshooting by our electricians, we narrowed the problem down to one of three issues. The solution for any of them was the same, so we were forced to have an isolation transformer installed on the circuit for the machine to eliminate the nuisance tripping of our GFCI breaker. The cost of this transformer, installed by a licensed electrician, was nearly $800.
Now let's take a look at challenges and opportunities for the machine's use with various crops. One of the first considerations prior to use is personal protection equipment, or PPE, for the workers. We recommend wearing ear protection when using the machine on the high pressure setting due to the noise generated during use. In addition, there is a lot of water mist and drift that occurs during use. Therefore, workers will benefit from wearing rubber boots and a waterproof jacket or apron like the one pictured here. Bunched crops like beets, radishes, and turnips may be used with this machine. We lay the crops on the belt in a staggered fashion without touching. In this video, we show an example of turnip washing. Before, the turnips are coated with dirt on the root. The bunch is placed on the conveyor and sent through with circulation. Initially, we ran the circulation at the middle range of around 5. Notice the circulation water is only coming up about 3 to 4 inches above the belt. Then we adjust the circulation dial higher, and the water circulation increases in height and intensity. The turnip bunch got a decent wash and cool for the greens, but the root itself is still quite dirty. Next, we trial high pressure wash at a low level, around 250 psi. The turnip once again is still fairly dirty. We try a third pass through with high pressure at a level around 750 psi. At this level of pressure, damage is caused in the turnip root itself. Pock marks appear where the force of the water has cut into the flesh. In addition, the greens are tattered and ruined. While there are limitations with washing bunched items with the rinse conveyor, it can be used successfully for quick washes with minimally soiled crops. We have used it successfully in circulation mode for rhubarb, green onions, and some radishes when the soil has been dry and does not cake onto the root. In addition, we will wash other more soiled items like beets and turnips in conjunction with a hose spray. The crops are sent through the machine on the conveyor while a worker stands at the end of the machine with a garden hose to give a quick blast as they exit the machine, dislodging any remaining soil. Next, we wash loose lettuce greens using the rinse conveyor. Knowing how easily the high pressure setting will damage greens, we only use the circulation setting for lettuce. We load the bin of greens onto the conveyor in a single layer. After the greens pass through the machine, they can easily be loaded into a clean bin after the wash cycle. A few leaves may get caught in the machine's conveyor. With the higher circulation setting, some disturbance of the leaves occurs while they are on the wash line. In limited trials, this has dislodged some insects from the lettuce leaves. However, removing insects is not foolproof on the rinse conveyor. Future trials on crop washing would involve lowering the height of the spray bars closer to the crops, varying the high pressure intensity, and adjusting the speed of the conveyor. Due to these variables, it may be possible to find ideal settings to wash many more crops than those mentioned here. However, the challenge lies in determining these settings, washing the crop consistently with varying field conditions at the time of harvest, and making frequent adjustments to the machine's settings as you switch from one crop to another. Washing bins and harvest totes with the rinse conveyor made the biggest impact on pack shed flow and labor investment. At our operation, bin washing by hand would frequently involve 4 to 7 people with a cumulative labor investment of up to 10.5 hours a week. This task now has become a 2-person job with a cumulative labor investment of 3 hours or less a week. Therefore, the rinse conveyor has reduced our labor by as much as 71% for this weekly chore. Being able to maneuver the rinse conveyor on caster wheels allows us to position the machine so that as bins come off, they can be immediately stacked right next to the machine. When sending the bins through the rinse conveyor, we place them upside down on the conveyor belt. We choose a medium-high speed, depending on the speed and skill of your workers, and then choose the combination of high pressure and circulation. We run the machine at 1,000 psi. Vinyl curtains hang down at the entrance and exit to shield the water spray from soaking the workers. Yet this entrance curtain will also block the first rinse bar on the machine. You can avoid this problem by keeping the curtain raised. You will have to manually weigh it down on top of the machine. When the bins come off the machine, we inspect them for stubborn dirt or other debris. Very dirty bins, like these shown here, will benefit from a quick scrubbing pass on the interior and being sent through a second time. Under ideal conditions, and when the conveyor speed is set at 7, it takes 12 seconds to wash each bin. If bins require an additional wash cycle, this average bin rate will increase. Therefore, we are able to wash over 300 bins in 60 to 90 minutes with only 2 workers. In addition to bins, we also wash our thick plastic greenhouse trays using the high pressure setting. If you use single-use trays that are made of a thin plastic, you will not be able to wash them with a high pressure setting. The last step with bin washing is to sanitize our bins. We use a dosatron injector system to inject sanitizer. In our case, we use Sanidate 15.0. We inject Sanidate into our wash lines at the appropriate level for disinfection. When using the sanitizer, it is a separate step after the wash cycle. The circulation and high pressure water valves should be shut off, and only the sanitizer line and corresponding valve be turned on. Turn the selection switch to circulation and dial the pump back to 0. Then restart the machine and adjust the conveyor speed to ensure adequate sanitizer coverage for your item. Nozzles will emit a fine mist of the sanitizer solution.
If the building where you house this machine is not heated, winterizing is non-negotiable when outside temperatures dip below freezing. In order to winterize, first disconnect all your water supply lines from the machine. Turn all ball valve handles halfway open and remove the filter cup and mesh screen from the machine's supply manifold. Now head over to the recirculation pump and remove the drain plug at the bottom of the pump as well as the plug at the top of the pump to break the vacuum. Once the water is drained, reinstall the lower drain plug. Now, gradually pour in about a quart of RV marine antifreeze into the top plug hole on the pump. After reinstalling the top plug, go to the control panel of the machine, set the cycle switch to circulation, and start the machine. You only need to run it for a second or two to circulate the antifreeze in the pump. Now walk over to the high pressure pump reservoir. Set the cycle switch to high pressure and run the pump until the reservoir empties to the low water contact switch and automatically shuts off the pump. Now add roughly a half gallon of RV marine antifreeze to the high pressure reservoir and run the pump again until the low water level switch shuts the pump off. At this point, you should see the clear hose to the pump filled with pink antifreeze, and if you check the spray tips on the high pressure spinning spray bars, you should see that they are dripping pink antifreeze. Lastly, tap the float on the Hudson valves located inside the machine's recirculation reservoir as well as the high pressure reservoir to cycle them up and down and free any trapped water that may be inside the valve. Use compressed air to blow out the sanitizing spray bar and eliminate any water that may be remaining inside the upper and lower hoses and spray tips. Your machine is now thoroughly winterized.
While the AZS Rinse Conveyor is a significant investment with a cost range at our time of purchase between $6,500 and $8,500, depending on selected options, the labor savings from bin washing alone made this acquisition worthwhile at our farming operation. In addition, there is a variety of crops that can be washed using this conveyor. Conducting more extensive individual crop trials with your farm's water pressure and soil type will be necessary to determine its versatility as a component of your post-harvest processing system.